What has our favourite Chinese multi-hyphenate fashion plate been up to this week? Find out on the Wang Weekly. Well, it's December, which means everybody I know is going mad, and that includes me. So this is going to be largely off the top of my head, and I am sorry, but that's all there is. That's all of the spoons that I have at the moment. But I'm not going to skip it. We're just going to do it. And I hope you enjoy my babbling. So the big surprise appearance for Wang Yibo this week, it was on the cover of T magazine, and there's not a lot to say except he's gorgeous. He's got no makeup. We're going to look at some photos. Everybody want to look at some photos? Let's do that now. So I hope we're all feeling appropriately, I don't know, energized now. Apart from exploring the unknown, which I'll talk about in just a minute, there wasn't too much else this week. On Saturday, it was the 88th anniversary of the Nanjing massacre, which has of recent years become quite a solemn observance in China. And Yibo posted about that. And even though it was a day that there was a new episode of Exploring the Unknown, there wasn't the usual fire hose of content on that day. Yibo has posted on Douyin this week, and so has UNofficial. There's all to do with the show. There was also some behind the scenes stuff that he dropped on his own personal Weibo from the show. And UNofficial also put out yesterday some behind the scenes of the photo shoot. The only other kind of newsy sort of thing that I can think of that's Yibo related from this week is that Vogue put out a couple of weeks ago, they put out asking for nominations for their best dressed of the year. So every week, well, they actually didn't do it last week, but every week they put out a best dressed of the week, 5 female celebrities, 5 male celebrities. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, they talked about they're going to do for best of for the year, and they asked, you know, for people to nominate. Then they released a short list to vote on in a couple of different categories. Yibo was nominated in the red carpet best dressed, and he romped it home. He came number 1 by some margin in the vote, which I personally find kind of amusing in the year that Yibo has skipped more red carpet events than any previous recent year. But yeah, so Yibo voted best red carpet dressed of the year for the male category. Dilly Rabah. She has so many different versions of her name. I'll never know which one's exactly the right one to use. But anyway, she came in first for female and Yibo for male. And I think we can all agree that he does look very fine in the fancy clothes. But anyway, let's get down to business, shall we? 2 new episodes of Exploring the Unknown. Let's go. So before I get into episodes 5 and 6, episode 3 is now up on YouTube with a fan subtitles. And I'll put the link to that below. So 5 and 6 have also been put up on YouTube by various people, not the official, but they're there if you want to look for them. So The version of episode 5 that I've seen, and I've seen it in a couple of different places, and both of them seem quite truncated. I don't know if they're all based on the same screen recording and it didn't start quite at the beginning, or if it's just a shorter episode. I don't really know, but I will tell you about what I saw in episode 5. They have gone deep water soloing is the main sort of activity for this whole week, which is climbing without ropes, but it's safe because you're doing it on a cliff that you fall into water if you fall off, when you fall off. And that's called deep water soloing. I don't know what the solo part of it is. I guess because you're not attached to anybody, your climbing is just your own climb. Deep water soloing, that's the main deal. And there was a big friendly Canadian guy with a boat who was guiding them to this and did a couple of the climbs with them. So they take them initially to one place and they do a climb, and that's they seem to enjoy it. They get to the top, there's high-fiving. Then the guy with the boat takes them off to have a sauna, which looks like a lot of fun. They've got a sauna on a little pontoon out actually on the water. So yeah, there's and Ryder and Yibo are in the sauna chatting, and I am following very little of it, but that happened. While Ryder and Yibo are in the sauna, Canadian friend with the boat is ringing his other Canadian friend who does a fishing charter. Anyway, they go fishing, they put down some crab pots, and then they go line fishing, and they catch a great big enormous Chinook salmon, and then there's a bit of argy-bargy when they're trying to release it, and Yibo drops the fish, poor fish, twice, and the first time it's hilarious and the second time it's really not hilarious. And yeah, anyway, fishing, and then they go and they set up camp on these little platforms by the water, and then cook up the crab and whatever for dinner. And as the final closing shot pans away, you see there's a bunch of different little platforms, each with like enough room for a sleeping platform for one person. And there's one for Ryder and there's one for Yibo, and presumably like the 5 crew each had one as well. So it's very scenic. That's episode 5. Episode 6 was still with friendly Canadian dude, and he takes them paddleboarding up a river. That's how that one starts. Yes, paddleboarding up a river, and it's whitewater rafting, paddleboarding. So they have to kind of work a little bit to get where they want to go. And then they, once they get to their destination, they hike in. So Ryder and Yibo hike in, and they're carrying these great big things on their back. And when they get to a spot in the forest, which is like a little climbing thing, they lay down these things that they had on their back, and they were kind of crash mats. So they kind of like lay them out, and they do a little bit of, it seems like, practice non-rope climbing. So because the deep water soloing is rope free, and they do a bit of practice climbing without ropes or any of the other gear in the forest. Then the friendly Canadian dude takes them to a harder climb, a deep water soloing climb, and Yibo falls a number of times this time around before he kind of gets it. And so it's I mean, that's the whole show, is that, really, isn't it? It's about watching Yibo throw himself at something and sometimes like exceed expectations, and other times be perfectly human and not get it the first time around, then demonstrate that he's in fact not quite 100% human, because he just doesn't give up. He stubborns it out, and he gets there in the end. So he climbed this thing, this crack. It had never been climbed before. It's all very exciting. And then the most magical thing of the episode appears. There's a seal in the water, and Yibo thinks that's wonderful. And then, like in the edit, 10 seconds later, they turn around and there are humpback whales. And so Ibo and Ryder take the paddle boards, and of course, it was unexpected. It was unscripted. They just turned up. And so they paddle out to kind of get a bit closer, and there are these at least 2, it might have even been 3 humpback whales in the bay that they were in, breaching and rolling around, and it's just magical. That, my friends, was episode 6 of Exploring the Unknown, season 2 with Wang Yibo. So let's go brand stuff. Big Demon King, who the brand new endorsement quite recently. They've been doing quite a lot of outdoor advertising from what I can see on Weibo. So like big display posters and like screens and places. They did a huge drone show one night in one of the cities, and I can't remember where it was. And they put footage up of that. It happened this week, and then a few days later they put it up on Weibo. Anta, they put up a new portrait, and they didn't exactly say that it was the beginning of a new contract period, but some of the language felt to me like that's what it was intending to say. So Antaverse, this Anta Sneakerverse. Red Bull had a bunch of stuff tied in with Exploring the Unknown. There was another like product shot, like completely like glaringly obvious, not subtle product shot in episode 6. So yeah, they're still doing that. Jeans West put up a couple of very cute social media posts about how they weren't at work today because they were busy watching Exploring the Unknown. And the big brand thing this week is Helly Hansen. Helly Hansen released a bunch of new photos of Ibo. He just looks amazing. The only other brand news is I think that one or maybe possibly more than one of his endorsements have lapsed. Edifier seems to have got rid of all of the Ibo stuff off their Weibo. It's tricky sometimes to figure out the endings because they don't get announced in the same way as the beginnings, but I think Edifier might be gone. I also have question marks about use. Don't have Ibo on their header any longer. They actually posted about him not that long ago, but sometimes they do at the end of a season. They do something right at the end. It's been a little while since there's been anything big, and then there was a couple of things at the first half of December, and he is off the header. So that's a question mark in my mind. And also Yaya. He's not on the header of Yaya anymore. Question mark. I'm not sure. If anybody knows anything, please let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's all of the brand news. I am going to just spend 20 seconds now, probably longer because you know me, talking about what we're looking forward to. As I said at the very beginning of this video, everything is crazy in December. I am not going to be able to be here next week. And I've thought about it. I probably could physically do it in 2 weeks' time, but I'm not going to. This is going to be my last one for the year. So I'm going to be wishing you goodbye at the end of this for the rest of 2026. Now, looking forwards, we do have Exploring the Unknown, and at the very end of episode 6 they had a little teaser for next week, and it looks like we're going into the forest and climbing some trees, so that might be fun. So that's what we have to look forward to in the immediate future. The thing that we normally are looking forward to at this time of year in the Yibo fanverse is the end of year, the New Year's Eve performance and new song. This is something he's been doing for I think 6-7 years. But I have not heard a whisper. And the rumors are saying that there's not going to be a new song. It's impossible to know what the rumors are based on. It could just be somebody like me going, TikTok, I haven't heard anything. This is not going to happen. As far as I can tell, a lot of things in the last little while have just dropped in a day or 2 days. So I think it's still feasible that there is a new song, but we haven't heard anything. So there may not be a new song this year, and I may be very, very sad about that. Despite the fact that we're getting so many other things, I always really look forward to the new song and the New Year's Eve performance. And obviously that's a bit fraught for a bunch of different reasons, potentially. But yes, so I don't know whether there is going to be a big performance this year. And again, it'll be a little sad if there isn't, because that is a tradition, and traditions are very important in my family. But we will wait and see. Hopefully when I come back, I will be very excited to tell you all about the New Year's Eve performance that did happen and the new song. But, he's growing up, he's growing out, he's changing, and we can't expect him to keep doing the same things forever and ever and ever. Amen. And he is moving away from the whole idol thing. Maybe this is the year that tradition lapses. We will see. We will see. Anyway, I'm going to send us out with a little bit of something. I haven't decided what it is yet. It's going to be gorgeous, and it's going to have Wang Yibo in it. And I am going to wish you a wonderful end of the year, a happy Christmas and Merry New Year, or whatever it is that you're celebrating. And of course, as always, a wonderful Wang Yibo Wednesday.